is the Amp Hour Podcast, recorded August 15th, 2011. Episode 56, Open Orbific Oratiuncle.
Welcome to the Amp Hour. I'm Dave Jones from the EEV blog.
And I'm Chris Gamble from Chris Gamble's Analog Life.
Hey Chris, so much failed today.
I thought we were finally at that point, and we got this whole new software set up, and everything's looking good there. And then, of course, my hardware completely broke. It just fell apart.
Isn't it usually horrible software that fails?
Yeah. I think this one's going back to the shop, and if they're not taking it back, then it's going to the junkyard.
Right. Do a video with a sledgehammer to it.
Yeah, right.
One of those destruction videos. You'll get 1 million hits on YouTube.
Yep.
Oh, boy. Anyway, Chris is all excited again. People, go figure. Chris getting excited about some new recording thing.
Well, the reason I get excited is because it should allow us to record guests easier. That's kind of one of the things that's been holding us back. And hopefully, now that I finally, figured out how to plug in my microphone to something else, I think we could have a guest call in and we'd be okay.
Yes, because we're now paying the big bucks and we've got our own Mumble server.
That's right.
At a whopping cost of, what is it, $2?
$2 a month.
$2 a month.
Yep.
I think we're being subsidised by all the gamers, right? They're the ones who use. There's this whole massive network of these audio servers, these Mumble servers everywhere, and So we're buying a part of one, are we? Or is that it? Or do we have our own? We have our own dedicated.
No, it's like a dedicated slice. It's not really a dedicated server. It's just like a slice. Not even a slice, because that's when you have a part of a server. We're just buying space on someone's Mumble server, or Murmur server is actually the better way to say it.
Ah, right.
That's the server side. Yeah. But in general, it sounds great. I mean, like Dave's coming through my headphones fine. I'm sure I'm coming through his fine. And
yep. But we're still recording locally, so the one that you're going to be listening to. The one that you download will still be our mixed recorded version. So this Mumble stuff is really pointless at the moment because we don't trust the internet enough. This is basically a 1 hour test to see if the thing can hold up.
Yeah,
exactly. This newfangled internet technology stuff still isn't as good as recording locally. We just don't trust to get from one side of the planet to the other.
Well, if someone didn't live so damn far away, it wouldn't be that bad.
Well, you should move to Australia then. Clearly.
Nice. Yeah.
Oh, God, sorry, I forgot America's the centre of the world. Yeah.
Yes.
All right, what do we got on today's show? Enough mumbling. No pun intended.
Mumbling. Man, a lot of stuff,
Any shout-outs? There's no shout-outs this week.
No shout-outs, no. It's been a while since I've been so focused on looking at the audio stuff, I didn't even look at the list.
No, neither did I. We've been, You got carried away with fixing all your fail this morning, and instead of reading the list, I was watching that video you posted, Elon Musk.
That's right, yeah.
Video. If people don't know, he's the guy who founded bloody well everything. He founded PayPal, or co-founded PayPal. He founded SpaceX, Tesla, a solar-powered energy company in the US whose name escapes me at the moment.
Sun City, I think it's called.
Sun City. Is that the name of the company, is it?
I believe so. I'll double check.
I thought that was the name of the project or something. Anyway, amazing guy. Lucky bastard too. And because luck has a lot to do with it, of course. If you didn't make your first 300 million, then you wouldn't have gone on to do the other things. So,
Yeah, it's interesting. It's an interesting
thing. He was
in
the right place at the right time with the whole internet boom thing in his little mapping company he first started when he was 23 or something, got bought out for 300 million by Yahoo.
He's definitely a driven guy. You got to give that to him. But
but there's millions of people like that, but they just don't get the luck of having their company bought out and then having hundreds of millions of dollars in the bank.
Right, that seed money really does kind of help. And that's another thing. I mean, so Elon Musk, he when every time he basically made money, he would push all that money into a new project. So SpaceX, he almost funded all of that himself with, I think it was like $300 million or something like that.
For the first couple of years, yes, he funded it completely himself. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, we shall put up, as always, we'll put up a link to the documentary of him.
Yeah,
it's like goes for half
Bloomberg.
an hour.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I haven't finished watching it yet, but it's very interesting. So
definitely. You know, there's a lot of people that so one of my friends is a aerospace guy, and he actually works for a contractor that is a NASA contractor, and so basically his boss is at NASA, and he was kind of telling me how NASA people aren't really as fond of Elon Musk. From an engineering perspective, it's
of course.
He's a savvy businessman. He's had these great products, but a lot of the Tesla cars are just badass, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, my buddy said that he's not as well liked in the circles, not because he hasn't done cool things, but apparently because he takes too much credit, basically saying that, we built this stuff and the space program is all private now. And my friend who works for NASA is like, yeah, that's great, except he wouldn't really have a customer if it wasn't for the U.S. government or foreign governments. So there's just it's really a joint venture, which is interesting to think about. I mean, obviously we've talked about space on here before about how privatization of space and obviously SpaceX is a big part of that, but it's not going to happen without governments that are willing to spend lots of money.
Oh, of course.
Granted, a lot less than they were spending on their own programs because they found some off the shelf money savings. But it's interesting just how he's viewed in the industry versus the kind of hero worship you and I might have for the guy. So.
Right. So is he actually, I wonder if he's actually claiming the credit or the media want a media darling, as they always do, right? So have the media sort of made him look more big-headed than he really is? I don't know.
Is that what's happening with you? I didn't realize that you had that much media coverage, Dave.
Me?
Yeah. Is that why you look so big-headed all the time? I'm just saying.
No, I'm not.
Always taking all that credit for...
right, for doing my own videos. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
What's up with that?
Silly me. How dare I? It's... Oh, boy. No, it's the viewers that make me, of course.
Of course.
Yep.
And
but I do produce the video, but yeah, that's the problem. The media want... they want a Steve Jobs. They want someone like that. They want a Bill Gates. Somebody who takes or who can take all the credit for it. They don't want to, because it doesn't make a story that this company who's headed by some nameless CEO in cooperation with NASA. What? That's a boring as batshit
right?
story, right?
Yeah, people want a narrative. They want a backstory. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, they want this one lone genius guy who, did everything. And, so be it, I guess. Anyway, I don't know him from bar soap, so...
And just as a correction, too, it's Solar City, not Sun City.
Solar City, okay, right. Yeah. And that is the name of the company.
Yeah, and that's interesting, too, the premise behind that. Basically, they lease out solar cells to people's homes, and they recoup costs because then they own the solar cells, and then... they get all the profit from over the lifetime of the solar cell. So cool idea.
Very. Wish I'd thought of it. I could be rich too.
If only you had $10 million to invest.
Actually invest in the startup to begin with. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, money begets money.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. they say your first million's the hardest.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh boy. Anyway, what else have we got on today's show?
A lot of... let's sort by topic here. Let's see. Oh, well, how about a little bit of news? I mean, did you hear about Google? I mean, you just woke up. I don't know if you heard about that.
I just woke up. No. What?
So Google bought Motorola's cell phone business.
Really?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. So, there's a lot of, speculation about what it is, but then Larry Page came on and basically said, he outright said a big part of it is... we want their patents. I think it was 16,000 patents they had.
Ah, really? There you go. It always comes down to that in big business, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. It doesn't come down to, people or plants or anything else. It's, IP.
Yeah, and it's surprising too because I was talking to some friends about it at work today, and you kind of ask, well, Google's getting big in not even getting big, they are big in Android, right? And we're not a gadget show, so we don't talk about it too much on here. But what do they really need from buying a hardware company? I mean, it's cool. I mean, we you and I like hardware, right?
Yeah.
And Google is a good force to have in hardware.
Well, it's not like they're buying Motorola. They're buying Motorola's phone division, right?
That's correct, yeah.
Just
Motorola Mobile. Yeah.
I don't even know if they make their own phones in-house, do they? Do they just subcontract them out to Foxconn or something?
You talking about Motorola?
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't look at. I probably should have looked at that, huh? I mean,
yeah, you probably should have, because like they used to be almost number one in the phone business, weren't they? At one stage,
like StarTech days,
5 years ago or something. The Motorola Razr or something was like the world's most popular phone or something like that.
Razr was a big deal, and they kind of fell off until they came back with the Droid. But the Droid, I mean, it's a cross-platform kind of thing. I mean, there's HTC does it, Samsung has it, so it's
yeah. Well, I think HTC are leading at the moment, aren't they, in the Android market, with Samsung not far behind, or maybe those two battling it out for number one. I don't know if Motorola's up in the top two.
I don't know
anyway,
where they fall. Yeah, but the point is that it's not. At first, I was thinking it was going to be about the hardware, right? Because anytime you have an Android phone, you have to wait. If Google or the Android development team pushes out a new release, you then have to wait for your manufacturer to actually take the release, package it up, talk down to the low-level firmware, whatever specific to their phone, and then actually push you that package, right? And,
absolutely.
And they're all different, but depending on vendors. So I was thinking at first that, maybe Google wants to, have control of a phone and have that low level of,
Yeah, but Google have the Google phone.
That's right.
What happened to the Google phone?
Well, it's out there.
Who did they buy to get that? Surely they didn't do it themselves. I think they must have bought a company, surely, to...
So there was I think they started with the G1.
Yeah.
And then they have the Nexus S right now, which is the Google phone, and that seems like that's
right.
a pretty popular phone. I thought. I mean, not popular.
I think it might be. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or it's gaining popularity. So what do they want with Motorola? The patents, right? so that
that's what
so
it kind
that
of
they can
behind.
outsue Apple. Is that the idea?
Yeah, and I'm already tired of it. I gotta say.
I'm sick of the whole patent bloody lawsuit industry. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Pain in the ass.
Yeah. So, I mean, that seems like between, RIM and Microsoft and Apple and Google now. So it's like watching a bunch of gorillas fight it out,
Right, yeah. And beating their chest and, yep.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Speaking of Foxconn, we've had something on this list for a couple of weeks. You found something that said that Foxconn, they, one way to not have all the suicides that they've been having, supposedly, at Foxconn is to, replace all the humans with robots. So
yeah, a million
what do
of
they
them,
do?
Right? That's a lot of robots.
Yeah, they're replacing, where is the actual story?
Item 33 on our list.
Oh, you resorted on me, dude.
Yeah,
okay.
For all you following along at home, well, you can't.
They plan to increase from 10,000 to 1 million robots in the next 3 years. What do they mean by robots? I guess they mean pick-and-place machines, right? Is that...
No, I think they mean
that'd be their main robot, right?
Well, that would be a robot, but no, I believe they also mean assembly type of robots and everything else.
Right,
so.
that actually assemble cases and things like that, probably.
Yeah.
Little robot arms that come in and screw things together. They come down, they pick up screws, and the bit's magnetic, and it comes in, little robot arm, and that's my drill sound.
That was good. I like that.
That's a 12,000 RPM drill right there.
Right.
Yeah. So it's basically a Dremel on the end of a Dick Smith robot arm, right? Is that pretty much
that might be a bit of a simplification, but
right. Okay, sorry. I'm sure they cost like $500,000 each or something.
Yeah. So they're looking to ramp it up, and kind of just makes you wonder about what the real future of it is. I mean, because at that point you only need to have a technician for repair and maybe a programmer at some point, but
yeah. And then,
makes
but
you
then you
question
need
like the
people to inspect
manufacturability.
it afterwards and stuff like that. But they can do a lot of that visually now. All the visual inspection technology is absolutely phenomenal. It's sometimes more advanced than the assembly technology, than the robots themselves.
Yeah.
So, really, was there any word on how many people they were going to slash as a...
No,
when
I
they go
didn't
from 10,000 to 1 million robots in 3 years is a lot. That is a
lot.
big jump.
I mean, that's a log
Man,
jump,
that
right?
is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean,
Wow.
yeah.
I guess there's going to be a lot of unemployed people in China, huh?
Yeah, and they only kind of they just revealed this plan, so there's no real details yet. I mean, even I'm looking at an Economist article right now, and basically, I think that the media kind of grabbed onto Foxconn employees were killing themselves, and now robots don't kill themselves. That was kind of the main thing.
Right.
And yeah, it is true. I mean, robots won't kill themselves, but
Yep.
there's other expenses with robots too. You don't necessarily have yeah. I feel like I'm going to say something really non-humanist right now.
Right. Okay. As long as you stick to the 3 laws, you'll be fine.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Right. One of the coolest things we have seen this week, by far, is this open source ecology thing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you jumped on that.
Yeah, this is... Sorry, I'm jumping straight into this,
Yeah,
this is cool.
first let's talk about your video. Yeah, let's talk about your video first, because so Dave,
right.
if people don't know, Dave did a open-source hardware video, and we'll be sure to link that in there, too. But...
I did, and
well,
the reason
yeah.
I did. What is open source hardware? What are the benefits of it? I didn't really want to do the downsides. A few people asked me, well, why didn't I do the downsides? I wanted to keep it upbeat and short, so it was long enough as it is. I tried to get it into 10 minutes, folks, but I achieved 13.
Not bad for Dave. I gotta say.
I was pretty impressed with myself, so yeah. Without having to go out and actually retake something because I mumbled or something like that. So, yeah, right. I was pretty impressed. Anyway, the idea was to sell, the good benefits of open source hardware and explain it, because I didn't think that there was a video out there that actually did that, where somebody sat down and there's lots of lectures, at the conferences and things. People have talked about open source hardware, but you've got to watch the whole lecture,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So I thought I'd do a neat little summary, and everyone seemed to like it, which was good. And the reason I did it is because I found... did I mention this last week? I found that somebody hadn't open-sourced... They claimed it was open-source hardware, but they weren't releasing the CAD files. So,
hey, we talked about that for like 20 minutes on the show.
Did we? Okay. Oh, right, okay. Right.
Someone's not getting a lot of sleep. The kid's keeping them up.
Yeah. Anyway. So, I did the video, and it was quite popular. Everyone liked it, so which is good.
Yeah.
I'm glad.
Yeah, and I saw some comments on the Adafruit site, because they had reposted it, about how you had come around about it. And it's like, well, no, we've always been fans of it. I mean, like, at least, the Amp Hours always talked highly of it.
This is the thing, right? Everyone thinks that I was somehow anti open source hardware. I've been doing open source hardware for 20 years, and I think I'm going to actually have to do a video to prove this. I'm going to get out some old magazines, and I'm going to talk about...
It was cool, folks.
Yeah, exactly.
It was so obscure you probably hadn't heard of it.
That's right. So I'm actually going to... I think I'm going to do a video, get some old magazines, and show what it was like back before the internet, and doing actually open source hardware magazine. When I was a boy.
Yep.
And I'm going to have to do that, because I think a lot of young people wouldn't know what that industry was like back then. So I think I'll do
it's probably a lot different then, huh?
Yeah. And there was all these unwritten rules about, what you did, and if you published something, it became public domain, and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, I think I'll have to do a video on that. I was going to do it as a follow-up to that one, but I went on to something else. So
okay. Well, in the I'll keep going with the story then. So Dave comes to me the next day. I say, "Oh, Dave, great video. I enjoyed it. It was a lot of good responses and everything." And he says, "Oh, I'm number 3 on YouTube for open source hardware." And I'm like, "Oh, that's great. That's awesome, Dave." And then I looked at number 1, and number 1 deserves to be number 1.
Absolutely.
It is awesome.
You bet it does.
So it's a TED Talk, and I've already forgotten the guy's name. But Marcin Jubakowski, I think it is. Jakubowski.
Yeah, sorry.
Jakubowski, yeah.
Yep.
So basically, he's part of the open source ecology.org.
Yes.
And you want to explain the rest of that, Dave?
Yep. Basically, what they're doing, what he started out, he wanted to build, and what they've called a global village construction set. So what this is basically the instructions that you could fit on a single DVD. I'll go into that later because I think that's a bit impractical. Anyway, the fact
focus on the important things, Dave.
All these open source plan to construct all of the basic equipment you need to restart modern civilization, like all the farming equipment. That you need to, stay alive, and then generators, and then a car, and then, all sorts of stuff to sort of, start from scratch. If there's if there's a Holocaust or something, a nuclear, if we stoop enough to wipe ourselves out, then, somebody somewhere in the middle of Siberia can, or in the middle of Australia or something. Yeah. Who the hell's going to nuke the middle of Australia anyway? They can start again. They've got all these plans that they can build these open source, tractors, and he's actually gone ahead and built them. Yeah. And all these people are joining in. I think they've built like 7 of the 50 machines. Basically, they've got a list of 50 machines that they want to build.
Yeah.
And I think they've built like 7 or 8 of them so far. Full on, farming tractors and things like that. It's great.
It's amazing. And,
oh, man.
And I mean, to hear it from him too, he said he came out of college with a PhD in fusion, like some kind of fusion related science.
Fusion, yes.
So I think he quickly figured out that he should do some more practical stuff.
Anyway,
maybe he'll make a fusion machine eventually too,
Well, he could. Well, the video's only 4 minutes long, and I thought it was so brilliant. I shouted out to the wife, "Come and watch this! Come and watch this!" And she sat there and watched it, and she thought it was the most brilliant thing she's ever seen. Yeah. So there you go.
And,
that's saying
and so
something.
Another thing that's important about it too is not just about if the world ended tomorrow. It's also about third world countries and making.
That's the big thing. Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So this is something that
these third world countries
build.
don't have much money, right? And they can't buy $1 million machine. They will have to build it themselves because that's the way that they can small villages in the middle of somewhere. And they can't afford to go to some big company and buy the finished machine. But if they can build it themselves, fantastic. If they have the plans and they have the materials, then awesome. Go for it. So that's really the whole idea. It's not about, a nuclear survival thing or something, or if we get hit by a 5-kilometer asteroid or something like that.
Yeah.
So, it's all about, third world countries being able to build and afford these things without big business getting involved and making profits and all that sort of stuff. So
right, exactly. Yeah, it's really exciting from that perspective. So right now, if you go on their site, on the wiki actually, so they have a wiki where they're documenting all their stuff. So things that are in development right now: sawmill, a laser cutter, an industrial robot, and a steam engine. And then some things that are already done. So CEB press, tractor, and a power cube. And I believe the CEB press is it's a brick presser basically, so you can actually take straw,
soil
and clay
and clay and stuff and press bricks.
Right, and then you can build housing establishments with that. And that's alone, right. I mean, is pretty impressive.
That's very awesome. Yep.
Yeah.
And there's a 3D printer on there.
There is,
just like a MakerBot. It's actually right up.
It's a rep wrap.
They don't put them in number order. They don't actually. Oh, okay. It's actually a rep wrap. Okay. Yes, it does look like a rep wrap.
Yeah, you can always tell from the triangle shape. I guess it's like a elongated pyramid.
A wedge kind of.
A wedge.
Shape.
That's a better way to say it. Yeah.
Yeah. And they've got a 3D scanner to go with that, so you can scan an object and then print it out. And then they've got things like a wind turbine, an open source 50 kilowatt wind turbine, and then, a backhoe. And it's a really weird list of stuff, actually. And,
I didn't see how they came up with it, but the list.
Yeah, some of them are, and there's a CNC machine, of course, for making parts, and stuff like that. And actually making circuit boards. That's one of the things they say. You can actually a CNC etching mill to make your own copper-clad circuit boards. And, it's quite funny that, well, okay, you've made your circuit board, where do you get your components from? It's this chicken and egg kind of
yeah, exactly.
thing. So, yeah, you can argue that, if you really had to start up a civilization from scratch, it's really not going to work. But anyway, I thought it was brilliant. And they advertised it as that, you could have all of the plans to restart civilization on one CD-ROM. And, well, okay, but where's your computer to read your CD-ROM,
Right. Or even if you have a computer, how are you generating that power to start with,
Yeah,
right?
exactly, to do it. Yeah, I know. It's but still, the idea is brilliant, and they're implementing it, and it's fantastic. It makes me want to contribute.
Well,
it really does.
I think you should. I hear you have tons of free time, Dave.
Oh, right, yeah.
Right. Just like me. I mean, tons of free time.
Absolutely.
Well,
and it's a really weird list of things.
Yeah.
So what would you put on the list? What do you think should be, as in you, the audience, think should be on the...
What about me, Dave? Come on, man.
Well, no one cares about you, Chris. Come on.
That's true, man.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's all right, buddy.
Laser cutter. Awesome.
Yeah, I can't imagine that would be a early thing, maybe a low-hanging fruit kind of thing, like something easy to knock out if you had a laser, I guess. But
if you have the laser, then you have an XY stepper motor and a frame, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I think of things like the material things you'd think you need first. So they have an aluminum extractor and a bioplastic extruder. So if you have aluminum and plastic, you can build a lot of stuff, right?
Yeah,
and
that's
think
right.
you need that to really start processing processing raw materials. That's what I think that's what it ultimately comes down to. You got to start back from the beginning. So, but it's.
And they've got an open source car, And
open
great.
Source car,
okay,
that's interesting.
I think I'll tackle that one today.
Yeah, right.
I'll tackle the open source car, no problems at all. And there's a battery, and it uses nickel ion. It uses the old nickel ion batteries. It's right down the bottom. It's it's on the list.
Iron or iron?
Iron. Nickel iron, as in IRON.
Sounds like you're saying ion, like I-O-N.
Ion, no. Nickel iron.
Iron.
We don't pronounce it iron.
I know. Neither do we.
Right. Anyway.
Yeah.
Nickel ion batteries. So there you go.
Yeah.
An open source truck. No problem.
Yeah, whatever.
It's great. I love it. I know. I so want these things.
Well, that's great. I mean, like that's exactly what you should be feeling, right? You should be like, I want to do this. I want to be part of this. It's
Why can't it makes me jealous that I can't do something to change the world like this? I probably can, but I'm not.
If you didn't have a family to support, I don't know what this guy's story was. I mean, like maybe he had some kind of sustaining income or something. But yeah, there's some serious. You really have to be devoted to this kind of thing. No matter what you do, even if you do it as a hobby, you have to be really devoted. So
yep.
Yeah, it's from that perspective, it's even more impressive. It's very impressive. I am very impressed with this guy and everyone that's involved with this. So people should check it out and definitely consider getting involved. Especially
Absolutely.
people that say, "Oh, I don't have a project to work on." That's always a big complaint. Oh, I don't know where to start. Well, start here. Rebuild civilization from scratch. That's a good starting point, right?
Exactly. Well, that's the thing. I always get tons of email, and I read it on the forums all the time as well. Students saying, "Oh, what project can I work on so I can show something at my job interviews when I finish and go for jobs?" Well, contribute to something like this. It's
I always say that to software guys. Whenever I'm talking to software guys or girls that are, like in college or even in high school, they're always saying, "Well, I don't know where to start." And I'm like, get involved in an open source project. Like that's what they're there for, to get experience. You'll get mentored because you're going to have someone architecting the design. You're going to probably doing some of the grunt work, but you're going to learn how the flow works. You're going to have mentors because someone's going to have to help you out at some point, and then you're going to be forced to learn a lot on your own too, which is probably the best part. And it looks amazing when you're showing it to someone else. Hey, I built this part of this piece of software that everybody uses now.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
this is the exact same situation with hardware now. So this expands beyond just electronics hardware too. This is mechanical. I'm sure that a majority of this is mechanical work too. So.
Oh yeah, of course. And there's so many projects you can get involved in. It's almost infinite. Yeah. Whereas back before the internet, when I was a boy, there was just nothing. You couldn't, there was nothing like this. Maybe if you went to a local ham, meeting or something like that, but that was about it, really. So it wasn't this world of information revolution which we got now, which I love.
Yep, gotta love it. So speaking of open source hardware and electronics. In the case that we were talking about there, right? So where do you start? Say you have a board router, but where do you get the copper clad from, right? Or say
where do you get the fiberglass, the copper, the components,
exactly.
Yeah.
So that was another point I saw.
You're not going to bring up the chip maker, are you? We need an open source chip maker.
No, I actually wasn't going to bring that up, but it is related to chips. Someone on the YouTube comments, and not in a horrible way, someone legitimately asked, "What, is it?" You and I have talked about it before with open source hardware projects, and if you're using Eagle, it's a semi-closed off format. Yep. And someone brought up, well, if you're using chips, then you're using a proprietary format technically, right?
Yes, that's right.
I never really thought about it like that. They said, oh, well, you have to use like 74 series logic, in order to really make it open source because everybody makes versions of that.
No, but then it's not open source. Then it's only multiple source. It's still proprietary. That's,
true. Yeah.
So really, but it's much better. That's the goal of any electronics design, not just open source, is to get... is to make sure you can source your parts from multiple vendors.
Oh, yeah.
So that's a really big thing. You can get really caught up the creek without a paddle if you, have just a fixed source, a single source part.
Yeah.
So, but, that's the thing. I mean, you can't just go back to basics all the time. You've got to build upon... stuff you can get. That's how we build our advanced stuff these days. You think you can go and build a notebook with Wi-Fi and everything else using 7.4 series chips on a chip printer? It's just not possible.
Or like 2N3904s or something like
exactly.
that.
I'll use it, make all my open source projects using discrete transistors. Well, good luck.
Right. Or vacuum tubes. It ended up looking like in your favorite movie when Doc Brown replaces that microchip with.
It replaces the flux.
Tubes,
it replaces the time circuits with the
That's
tubes.
Right, the time circuits.
The,
and the
made
circuit
in
he was
Japan
placing
chip.
was probably a 555 or something,
Right. So you've got to be realistic that the advanced stuff these days, and that's why the chip making thing just isn't going to work because you can buy 100,000
But what about when the world ends, Dave?
DigiKey.
Come on. What about when the world ends?
I think that'll be the least of your worries if you can, if you can make your RGB LEDs flash.
I'll be worried about the food printer more than the chip printer.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
That's right. Solar panel first, so that I can actually get some power. Thank you to actually light up a light bulb.
Yeah.
So,
Speaking
of light bulbs.
Oh, wait, I wanted to mention something about the chip printer first. I had one more thing about it.
Okay, go for it.
Unfortunately, it's actually in the Dave camp this week. I said.
Of course it is.
I know, whatever. Yeah. So basically, there's an EDN article about this new chip it's from Triad Semiconductor, but now it's basically they're starting to push more analog functionality into FPGA kind of stuff. So it's got like a million gates or something like that. What's it called? It's called a VCA 6, and it's got like 100 op amps in there, a million total transistor or ASIC gates rather. So it is programmable from that perspective. And then it's got a bunch of selectable resistors and capacitors and everything. And even though the analog characteristics of this thing is probably pretty subpar, the That's pretty cool.
Yeah, the fact that you can do basic stuff with it. Yeah, there's other ones on the market that, analog arrays, actually programmable analog chips. It'd be nice if you could just get that functionality on its own. I think that'd be nice. Especially if you need something to lower your component count. You don't want separate resistors and separate capacitors and separate op amps and everything else, But you only want, as you said, they're pretty basic performance usually. They're not, super low power. They're not super high speed. They're not, super precision, all that sort of stuff. But for most purposes, it'd be great. So if there was like a little DIP 8, analog chip that you could program to do,
Oh, it's like single signal in, single signal out, and then you program all the
and then
all the
you could
junk
program
inside.
a filter in there, or you could program something else. That'd be awesome. There's a
that's a
chip
cool idea.
startup thing for you. It's just a little basic analog. They seem to always integrate this with the large ASICs and the digital aspects of it. Screw that.
Yeah,
Just give me a little programmable analog part.
Yeah,
Is there anything like that on the market?
I haven't seen anything, and I've kept an eye out for that kind of thing.
Yep.
I was so excited when I heard about the Actel part, now Microsemi, the what do they call that? The power fusion or whatever the hell that thing was.
Right, and it had,
it's like an FPGA,
integrated.
and they got all the A to Ds in there, and they got op amps and everything else, and I think they were targeting very specific markets, and I get that.
Yeah.
But I was so excited because they were like, programmable logic and analog stuff, and I look at it and I'm like, that's not analog, that's crap. Belong, it's
like crap-a-log, yeah.
It's just like I didn't want to touch it. It was like 10-bit A to Ds, but for some people that's awesome. That's what they want. So it's just there's no value in it yet, and even with the processing of making those things, I don't think it's really capable of making really precision analog paths in with digital processes. So
yeah,
I think we got a little while.
That's why I think they could achieve better if they just did that idea of just a single little analog chip. Surely they could get a better process, and which is more finely tuned to analog performance.
Yeah.
If they just did that. So come on, people, do it.
Yeah, one of the problems with that is that it's always a discrete thing, right? So even if you have a filter in there, usually what they're doing is they're switching in resistors to capacitors.
Oh, yes. So you would have to have a digital thing in there so that you could talk to it via I2C or something to configure it. Maybe you would have to have some flash as well to actually store the configuration and things like that. So
yeah. But I mean,
I
mean, they're discrete values though. So like maybe there's a 1K.
They are discrete values. Yep.
Yeah. I want something that's like programmable, like a transistor in there that has an equivalent impedance of like 1K. And I've never seen. I mean, there's like what are they? Varactors that are variable.
Yeah, you could probably
capacitors.
do that, but it's not as easy as having just the fixed component values. But the fixed component values are fine if you just want like a gain of 10. Give me an op amp with a gain of 10. Well, you switch in, the suitable value resistors.
Yeah, that's true.
And,
that's true.
Or if you need to filter it, usually you don't need an ultra precise filter. You just need something basic.
Yeah, just roll off the real high frequencies or the low frequencies depending on what you're doing. Yeah, that's a cool idea.
But then again, you could argue, well, you can just do that with an RC filter, right? So.
Yeah, but multi-pole kind of stuff you need to start.
if you want a multiple
crazier.
pole thing, to get a better roll off and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that kind of defeats what I just said about not caring about the exact frequency. You probably do if you're wanting multiple roll offs and stuff like that. Anyway, I don't know. I just think it'd be cool. But is it viable? I don't know.
I don't know either. I haven't seen anything in the market yet, and I think that analog vendors are sticking with the analog chips. But like I mentioned on the show before, a lot of them are integrating stuff. So whereas maybe the absolutely programmable filters aren't going to be realistic in the near future, I think.
Well, it's just like the whole. Sorry, go on.
Oh, I mean like a 1x, 10x, 100x kind of like amplifier. I think that's very realistic. And useful.
You can buy those from companies like Analog Devices. They sell ones that you can actually, there's pins on them, and you can actually program the gain.
Yeah, like instrumentation
like
amps and that kind of thing.
Yeah, instrumentation amp front ends and stuff like that. But
a lot of those front
I
end
guess
chips.
It might come down to the same thing with FPGAs. like, everyone said, oh, they're the future and everything. Did we talk about that last week? Probably.
That was with Jack. That was 2 weeks ago.
Oh,
yeah.
that was with Jack 2 weeks ago. All right.
Yeah.
And, but they've got too many compromises to be used as an everyday part, So
Oh, yeah. Like a mass-produced kind of thing.
As a mass-produced, cheap, jelly bean bit of, logic.
Well, none of them want to be a jelly
more...
bean part. They all want to be your.
Yes, everyone wants to be the jelly bean.
No, I don't think they want to be a jelly. I think they want to be. They want to be the Vertex 7s. They want to be the. They want to be the OMAP 9 or 10 or whatever the hell they're on now. They want to be the high margin part. They don't want to be the jelly bean part because then someone else comes in and.
There's very low margins in jelly bean parts. Yeah, that's why they're jelly bean.
Exactly.
Is because everyone is out, everyone's out doing each other until nobody makes a profit on them anymore.
Exactly. So, they want to be like the high end Ferrero Rocher chocolate part, like
right.
Yeah, it's
I don't know. So anyway, I just think it'd be cool to see, but realistically, I don't think we'll see it.
Okay.
What a bummer.
Yeah. I'll tell you what's not a bummer. Here's my lack of segue. I want to just talk about this. Have you seen? So we talked about the video. I think I sent you the video, right, for the first robot competition.
Oh yes. With I love this. You didn't like it.
I didn't like it at first. Okay, so people don't know. Will.i.am and a bunch of celebrities basically. There was this promo video came out.
Who the hell is Will.i.am?
So he's from the Black Eyed Peas. Yeah, exactly. He's from the Black Eyed Peas. Exactly. But it's a bunch of celebrities.
I'm sure all the young kids know who he is, right?
Yeah.
All and a whole bunch of other celebrities anyway.
Yeah. Steven Tyler. How about that? Aerosmith, right? So
no.
Nothing? What do you...
No. Dude, if the music didn't come from the 70s or 80s, I don't know it, okay?
Aerosmith did come from the 70s. Really?
Aerosmith weren't the 70s?
Yeah, they were. That's when they started. Really? It was the 70s. Yeah, they went all the way through the 80s, 90s. That's why he looks like he's friggin' dead. Right. Anyways.
Right.
So they had this video. If people haven't seen it, there was a promo video for First Robotics. So First Robotics being the robot competition that Dean Kamen started. Dean Kamen being the guy that invented the Segway and a bunch of insulin pumps and a bunch of really awesome things as his company's Deca Research. So there's 20-year competition that's been going on, and now finally they're getting some real traction here. I mean, not that this is the real traction point of it. There's been books about it. There's been documentaries about it. But this is more of the popular culture. This is kind of the final. I think this is the final step, and it's a good step. I think. I mean,
I think it's awesome, and you could argue that the video is a bit cheesy. Maybe is that the word?
Super cheesy. It's horrible.
Right.
The video itself, the clips, like I have to give credit. Like Will.i.am is the one who set a lot of this up. Him and Dean Kamen were actually the ones interacting. And trying to pair up like the celebrities with the technical side of things. And I think Will.i.am was the focal point with Dean Kamen. The other ones that came in, like Jack Black and like Justin Bieber and all these.
Bieber. I almost threw up when I saw Justin Bieber. But
he just looks at the camera. He's like, hey guys, I just want to let you know, working on robots is just as cool as what we do in music. It's like. Shut up, dude. We're way cooler than you. You're a little punk. Get a haircut, hippie. Yeah.
Hey, you can't talk with those sideburns, dude.
Oh, those are gone. Those are gone.
The sideburns are gone.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Anyway, so there was this promo video, and we'll link it in there. And it's at first
you've got to have a look.
At first, I didn't like it. I didn't like that. It looked like. It kind of reminded me of like the. It seemed like they were paying these people to say this stuff, and
right.
Honestly, that's what I first thought, and basically, what the point I've come to is it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter even if they did.
No, exactly. That's what I saw from day one. I thought, this is but it doesn't matter. The fact is, the kids will listen to these people.
Yeah, it's a focus on it. So, and even if it's not like the kids, even if it's just. Hey, other people looking at that and being like, hey, all these celebrities are endorsing this. Hey, there's more focus on First. That's the ultimate good thing that's come out of this. And so actually last night they aired the special. So it wasn't just this commercial. I thought at first it was just a commercial, but it's actually this hour-long special they had on ABC in the US.
All right.
and it's amazing. You know, they showcase all these teams. They actually, you know, I think they were in the St. Louis football stadium, the Dome, and so they actually had the competition there. Like 600 teams were in the finals, and then at the halftime show, they had this huge, you know, Black Eyed Peas concert, and all these other artists came in, and
all right,
it's
Very
awesome.
cool.
It's exactly what I wanted to see. I was smiling the entire time I was watching it. It was just amazing that there was any kind of focus on it like that. It was just absolutely amazing. And you know, I was talking to my fiance about it, and she's just like, "Well, why the hell didn't we have this when we were kids?" You know, like
I know we had nothing.
Even less for you, Dave. I mean, like I had some stuff.
Oh yeah,
but,
we had nothing here in Australia. At least you were in the US where the action was,
or even just, you know, that many more years ago, like that. Like it got a little bit better, but like, man, this is a big deal. I think this could be a really, really big deal, and I'm so excited about it. So I'll link in the videos too. But man, it's just spectacular. I'm gushing.
Chris is excited.
I am so excited. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. It is amazing. So, you know, at first by itself, even before it was, before it was featured like this, you know, Dean came in, starting this, and then all of the amazing volunteers, you know, because a lot of the importance of the first program is built on the people that are volunteering with it.
Oh, that is the foundation. You can't have it without those people.
Yeah.
You know, who actually run the programs and get the kids excited. So
Exactly.
Yep.
And you know, if you look at the numbers too, is like the I think like the male female ratio in it is almost 50-50. It's just everything about it they're doing right. I mean, it's
right. Okay.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna calm down now.
I love these kind of programs.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Do you guys have a bit of an aside from technology here? Sorry, but do you guys have the Duke? No, you wouldn't. It's probably only in Commonwealth countries, but the Duke of Edinburgh Awards.
No, I never heard of that.
No, okay, it must only be a Commonwealth thing because it's it's to do with England and the Duke of Edinburgh. Anyway, it's a program in schools here in Australia. It's probably in England and other Commonwealth countries as well, where they encourage kids to get out there and do adventurous stuff, you know? So, and it's got all the kids so excited that they're going out and they're doing a week-long hike somewhere through the mountains, you know? So if you
wow.
Yeah, so it's a similar sort of thing to First. You join up. Like, you don't have to do it. It's not compulsory. But, you know, the kids are all excited, so excited about doing this Duke of Edinburgh's thing where, you know, where the requirement is to actually get the Duke of Edinburgh award, you have to go out and do X amount of outdoor stuff, you know? Outdoor physical activity, you know, or you've got to go to the gym, or you've got to go hiking somewhere, you've got to do something else adventurous.
It has to be physical. It doesn't. It
has
can't
to
be
be physical. Yeah,
Okay,
it doesn't actually have to be outdoor. You know, it can be. Yeah, but it's great. So it gets. We had nothing like that when I was a kid.
That's
you know,
awesome.
You just sat in your school and that was it.
Yeah.
You know, you sat in your room and classroom. Oh, you might have a swimming carnival once a year. That was about the extent of it. Yeah, but I think it's brilliant. So these sort of programs that get the kids excited and involved is great.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Oh man. Speaking of other awesome things, so I wanted to call out a build I saw. So it was I forget.
It's pretty good.
Someone actually suggested this to me, but they built a 40 meter. You know, so I'm studying for a ham exam, right? So I'm going to sit for the tests eventually once I finally study.
Right.
But it's it's called a WBR, right? And it's a 40 meter receiver. You know, you can receive lots of different channels, and it's Dave Richards AA7EE. That's his ham call sign, right? We're not big in ham, but whatever. And I just wanted to call out how absolutely gorgeous this build is. This guy built it he built the receiver case out of copper clad, and he tacked it all together with solder, and he built. It's just I honestly have this.
It's very common.
Building it out of copper, you mean?
Building out of copper clad, or building your circuit on the actual copper-clad board itself, but it's not uncommon to build the case out of copper-clad as well.
Right.
Because it's a nice, cheap, easy-to-work material, readily available, and, it's great for shielding. So, and you can solder to it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
But I wanted to call out. I mean, yeah, that in itself is cool, and I had only seen that a couple times, but this build quality is just flawless. Did you see the pictures of the build?
Yeah, it's great. I'm staring at it right now.
It's the background on my computer right now. Like that's how beautiful it is. And he did a lot of little breakouts. Like those how I think SparkFun and a couple other the people did that where they have like SOIC to like pin breakout kind of things, and he did that on top of the copperclad. He tacked it down.
Yep. He actually stuck them down, glued them down. So he's done all the components sort of dead, not quite dead bug because they're not upside down, but just freestanding on the copperclad board. And that's a time-honoured construction technique, and it's a great high-frequency technique.
Yeah, because you have that really nice ground plane underneath.
Nice ground plane, and you just solder the component directly to the ground plane, and bang, it's there. And, there's no inductance. And
exactly, yeah.
It's brilliant.
But yeah, just the build quality on this is just amazing. So I had to call it out, and it's gorgeous.
Right.
I want to build something like this. So
I've got a technical query.
Okay.
He's joined inside the case. He's soldered like the front panel, the back panel. So he's joined all the copperclad on the inside, but the copperclad on the outside seems to be floating.
Really?
I don't think he's actually made an electrical connection to the outer side of the copper.
What about the screws on the side? So you can actually
maybe I'm sure it's connected, or maybe via one of the B and C connectors. Actually, it could be via the B and C connector on the back. But then he hasn't joined that back panel with the other panels. He hasn't made a proper connection.
Well, that's what I was saying with the screw.
Layers.
If you had the screws on the side, that could be your chassis connection.
Oh, yeah, possibly.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. Yeah, I think it is the screws.
But then that's only the side panels. What about the top panel there? It's got nothing. It's got no connection to the nice copperclad on the top.
Yeah,
but the solder's only on the inside. Because it's a double-sided copperclad, right? He's only sold on the inside. There's no magic connection.
Then you only have the capacitance of the outside copper and the inside copper. Interesting.
So the outside's resonating at some frequency, but possibly. Who knows?
Maybe that's the antenna. Who knows?
Right. Hey, that'd be novel. Yeah.
Yeah.
Patch antenna.
There you go.
Based on the awesome. Anyway, yes, it's very nice.
It's gorgeous.
Copperclad.
I love it.
But then to keep it clean and to finish it off, that's hard because copper, you've got to seal it with a lacquer and
because it oxidizes.
And it oxidizes very easily. So, sealing it is very difficult. And you can actually see his front panel. You can see the fingerprints. And are they fingerprints on there? But you can see that the front panel's already starting to oxidize on the fully assembled version of it. So, anyway. It's very cool.
Yeah.
And let's get on to... we have a news item today, possibly.
News?
Philips in the US have won some LED prize.
Oh, this is a light bulb
US government thing.
Yeah,
right?
This is a light bulb thing you were going to mention before, yeah.
Yes, they're... who is it? Is the government... Did the government put up the prize?
Yes, the US government did. Yeah, so they...
US government?
They called it.
They won $10 million.
It's like the X Prize, but they called it the L Prize. So
the L Prize. Why the L Prize?
Well, like the X Prize.
Yeah, but the L. What does L stand for? Lamp.
LED.
LED. Right.
Yeah.
Right. There you go.
Yeah.
Duh.
And so this is Marjorie Connor writing about it. So Marjorie's she's one of the best writers at EDN, I think. She writes some great articles about lighting. She's real big into lighting. But Philips basically developed one of the first. Fully dimmable LED-based, Edison socket-based lamps. You can use all LED. You can dim it. It has the circuitry inside, and it's all LED. So, and it's got enough heat sinking. And it's got
the equivalent lumens to a 60-watt incandescent bulb. That was the whole prize. You had to replace a 60-watt incandescent bulb totally. So, yeah. There's no photo of it.
If you go to the article and then you actually click on the previous week, so there's a.
Philips, right. Okay. Yeah. Yep. Got it.
And so,
Okay.
so they'll win they have the prize. The target price for it was $22 and $15, and then $8. Keep on going down. But I
Yep.
mean, if it lasts the amount of time that LEDs are supposed to last, that could definitely pay off over time. So
It's interesting that they've done it in quadrants. It's like 4 different segments.
Three segments.
So 3, is it? Sorry,
Yeah.
3. And it's rather interesting construction, actually.
Yeah,
because I
it's
was
different
wondering
looking.
how would you do the because an incandescent lamp is a globe, right? It shines out equally in all directions. So how would you mimic that in terms of reflectors and lenses and
And diffusers.
stuff like that,
Yeah.
and diffusers, and they've sort of done it in thirds.
Yeah.
They've sort of split it into.
And heat sinking is obviously another big thing. I mean,
Heat
that's
sinking's
been
a
one of
huge
the
thing.
biggest
Yeah.
parts of any
yeah.
any LED thing is you have this
Because
tiny
that
little
affects the
die.
life.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
We've
You get
mentioned this before. You can get a 60-watt. I could have built one of these, right, and won the $10 million prize, but it would have had a lifetime of,
2 weeks.
100 hours or
Yeah.
something. Yeah, exactly. Because I'm overdriving the LEDs to actually get the lumens required, right? I don't know. What is the life of this thing? Have they?
I don't know.
What temperature does it get to? Like, come on, I want the technical details.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't work at
Bastards.
Philips.
Ah, man. Anyway, they have met the requirements of. The requirements are greater than 900 lumens, using less than 10 watts, greater than 90 lumens per watt, obviously, and a temperature to match a color temperature. A color temperature to match the incandescent. So it's 2700 Kelvin, and a color rendering index of greater than 90. And they met all of those requirements. So bingo, they win. But they didn't, there we go. A lumen maintenance of at 25,000 hours should be 70%. That was the requirement, and Philips got 99.3% after 25,000 hours.
Nice.
But, of course, they haven't been able to test 25,000 hours, so it's a 95% confidence that they can meet.
Right, and that might be based on
99.3%.
well, sometimes they do the Arrhenius equation and everything, so they age it in a heat chamber and everything. And
then you can work it out, So they've got a 95% confidence over 200 units that they'll get 99.3% of the lumens after 25,000 hours. And that's actually remarkable.
Yeah, definitely.
That's phenomenal.
25,000 hours. What does that translate
That's
to?
if the components inside last that long, like the capacitors.
Like capacitors, yeah, that's what I was thinking too. If you got an electrolytic
Exactly.
cap that's like just waiting to dry out, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
So I'm sure they've taken that into account. This isn't some one hung low brand. So
Let's see. 25,000 hours is 1,000 days, right?
Yep.
And that would be divided by 365 is 3 years. 3 years continuous, which is not
3
really
years continuous, yep.
realistic. But, if you did that at a, maybe 50% duty, I mean, it's 6 years then, 5.5, 6 years.
Yep.
So.
Exactly. That's impressive. And it's still, after that, assuming the electronics haven't failed, it's 99%.
Right.
Light output.
Yeah,
Wow.
so they're talking about light output versus actual lifetime, which is assumed higher, right? So that'd be interesting to know how that fails too, because with incandescent at least it pop and just goes away, right? The filament burns up.
But incandescents, likewise, similar with LEDs, you can run those for 50 years if you want, if you underrate them.
Yes.
Right? The reason light bulbs fail is because they're overrated. Okay? They're not designed. If you underrate them, then they can last for 50. I think the longest lasting light bulb at the moment, there's a webcam which points to it. Yeah, I have 100 years or something in some fire station in the US or something.
Yeah, that thing's like super weak. It's like hardly even on.
Yeah, exactly. But it lasts that long. And same thing with LEDs. But yes, what's going to fail first, folks? The circuitry or the LED die itself?
Yeah, that's a good question. Regardless, I think it's kind of like the first million we were talking about with Elon Musk, right? This is that point where it's like, okay, well, start making them. It doesn't matter that they're $20 for now. Some people are going to be early adopters, and and then the competition is going to ramp up, and hopefully in 5 years we'll have LED light bulbs for everyone at one hung low brand prices. And
if there is any given in this industry, it's that LEDs are going to overtake everything else for home lighting and for maybe not on the huge, massive industrial scale lighting, stuff like that, but they'll at least overtake home lighting, street lamps and things like that. It's just
well, and if the economics get there, I mean, they'll just parallel everything. I mean,
it's a given. Yeah. Absolute given.
It's awesome. I love it.
Yep.
And it's good
LEDs.
too. I mean, it's good for the electronics industry. I mean, hell, we talk about electronics on here, right? I mean, like, there's a lot of electronics that are needed, even in this simple little light bulb. You got dimmers. If people don't know how dimmers work, it's kind of stupid, actually, to be honest. I mean, basically, if you have an AC waveform, you're chopping off the top of the waveform.
Chopping it, yep.
Yeah, that's horrible.
And it's horrible from an EMI point of view, too. It spews out all this EMI shit. Yeah, it's terrible. Dimmers are awful. I hate dimmers.
I know, but from an electronic standpoint, I mean, that's a very difficult problem to solve in a low-cost and high-volume kind of production manner. So, well, if robots are taking our jobs in some spots, if the Foxcons of the world are losing jobs to robots, then those workers can go work on LED problems because, there's no shortage of those right now. So, life finds a way.
Right.
To quote my favorite scientist, Daniel Goldblum, in Jurassic Park.
There you go. Right. Oh, dude, come on.
Worst movie. I love it. Oh, man.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Oh, that's terrible. He's
your
hero,
time?
right?
I think we're running out of time, Dave.
Yeah, we are. I forgot to start the stopwatch, but we are. We've been recording for an hour and 1
minute. Can I
minute.
sneak in some history for today?
Yes, please. You sneak in something and I'll sneak in something.
Oh, you too, huh? Okay, so...
Oh, yeah, I've got a very quick one.
Okay, so this day in nerd history... Oh, I lost it. Oh, no. Where'd it go? Oh, shootski. Okay, you go first.
I tweeted yesterday, I was digging through my old records, and I found an old payslip from 20 years ago.
Wow.
And listen, people, do not say engineering does not pay, okay? I used to earn $11, $11.6396 per hour.
Wow.
Woohoo!
All right.
Engineering pays, folks.
Do you have a picture of it? Can you take a picture of it? Like black out all the personal info, but
I probably could. This one's from 91, but I actually started this job. That was just before I left, I think. So I started the job in 89. So yeah, but I think I was on the same. Yeah, I was on the same way. It was my first job, and yeah. But I could, and it's $11, and it's actually got 4 significant digits there, 11.6396.
You never know when those last two might make you an extra buck or two,
Exactly.
That's right. Beer money right there, man.
Right. Oh, brilliant. And they used to pay you in cash. Somebody would go to the bank and somebody would have to ride a shotgun. It used to be the secretary goes to the bank, but somebody would ride shotgun with them, go to the bank, and they pick up the pay slips. The money was in these little envelopes. The bank had already put cash in these envelopes, and they'd come around and, they'd hand you an envelope with cash in it.
That's awesome.
That's how it used to work, right?
Yeah, I'd love to see a picture of that. I bet that'd be a hoot. Just to see what that looks like. All right, so I found out what I was looking for. So born on August 15th, John Comrie, or also known as Leslie Comrie, I believe his real name was. He was a New Zealand astronomer, and basically this guy was one of the first ones to really start using punch cards. Punch cards were there before he started having programmable memories to do astronomical calculations. It was really cool. So before that, they were mostly using computers for business, where there was, a real money case for
finance thing. Yeah,
exactly. And he started using it for science. Actually using to do log tables and mathematical tables, and so then he started a company called Scientific Computing. And
oh wow,
yeah,
very cool.
And so that was in 1938. That was like a long time ago. So and he was kind of one of the I guess, pioneers of software. I mean, not the pioneer
Right,
of
not
the
one of the
pioneers,
well-known.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, the first private company for actual scientific computing. So, and then later he worked in World War II of computerizing, calculations for weapons and all that other nasty stuff. But
Yep.
yeah, and
I like
so
it.
definitely a very important dude. And that's
And he's
today's.
a New Zealander.
And he's a Kiwi.
sneaky
Yeah, he's a Kiwi. We won't say what Dave thinks about New Zealanders.
Well, then, we'll just claim him, obviously, because that's what we do. We're allowed to do that here in Australia.
Oh, really?
Anyone who's any good that comes from New Zealand who does anything significant, we claim them as Australian. Oh yeah,
That's a hell of a deal.
Yep, I know. It's great.
Yeah.
Sneaky New Zealanders, we call them.
Sounds like you guys are the sneaky ones. You're stealing them. You're stealing credit.
That's right.
Sneaky Aussies, yeah. Oh, man. I still have to
Well, there are some New Zealanders who promote themselves as Australian because nobody knows where the frig New Zealand is, right? So they go, oh, yeah, I'm Australian, and then they... right, so they...
That's not trading up very far. That's
right. Oh, boy, give me a break. Anyway, we're way over, dude.
Oh, we are.
Yep.
All right, guys. Well, it's been another fun and packed amp hour, I guess, huh? Talked a lot about that
pretty
stuff.
random, though.
That's okay.
Yeah.
We haven't had one of those in a while.
Because, we were a bit absent-minded today.
Yeah.
Too many other things happening.
Yep. But we will talk to you guys next week.
As always, see ya.